Hello everyone and welcome back to Age Nagash, which is a channel dedicated to Age of Sigmar. Now in this video we're going to go back to the Age of Sigmar army archive I want to do. I talked about it in my 2019 video I believe, where I said I want to sort of focus on that this year and really sort of try and build up a library, if you like, of the Age of Sigmar armies there are out there, from the big huge popular ones to the smaller ones. And that brings me to what army we're going to be doing in this video, and that is going to be the Slaves to Darkness. Now, the reason why we're going to do Slaves to Darkness in this video is because I wanted to, for after I did the Nighthaunt War, sort of like quite a popular army, I wanted to do an army for a faction that doesn't really have much content out there, and particularly on YouTube. And I got quite a few suggestions, and one of the suggestions that was the most popular one, I think, was the Slaves to Darkness. And I looked at that and I thought, I know Skaven as well, there was some interest there, and Skaven hasn't really got much going on YouTube, not much content for it, but I thought I'd look to see how much Slaves to Darkness content there is, just as a bit of comparison to get an idea. And after typing basic Slaves to Darkness into YouTube, I found out there was very little content. I know there's been a couple of videos from 2 Plus Tough, and like a couple of pretty good videos he's done, like pretty in depth, talking about the Star Collecting box and the Allegiance abilities, I believe he's done. And the like I say, they are really good videos. It's a great channel. If you don't know who he is, definitely check him out. But his Allegiance abilities, I believe that's from the 2017 handbook, General's Handbook, that'll be. So I don't know how much still in date that is. And his Star Collecting box review is really good. But as that was done from, would have been like at least a year ago, quite a bit's changed in Age of Sigmar. So I thought, after seeing that, and that's really all there sort of was out there on YouTube, I thought, you know what, it's the Slaves to Darkness that really need this love. So I've decided to make that my first army archive video for 2019. So with the pre-ramble out the side, and like I say, this is really for people who love the army, people who are maybe going to fight the army, people maybe trying to think about getting into it, because there's not much out there for Slaves to Darkness compared to, I know, like, had a suggestion to do Seraphon, which I'd quite like to do in the future. But if you type in Seraphon or Lisman into YouTube as, again, the example, you do get quite a lot of videos come up. So I felt like it'll be good to do them. And I know, some Seraphon players like a bit more, lore what's going on, because their lore's a bit up in the air at the moment in Age of Sigmar. I thought there's armies out there that need a bit more. So I thought Slaves to Darkness will be the one. So, like I say, with all this preamble out of the way, let's get into their lore video. So, firstly, I'm going to talk about a bit how they were in the old world, and this was the world that was. That's commonly referred to every so often in Age of Sigmar lore. It's basically, if you're sort of brand new to Age of Sigmar, if you only know Age of Sigmar, there was a sort of timeline. We're in Age of Sigmar now. Before this was the Age of Chaos, and before that was the Age of Myth. Now those three different ages were all within the mortal realms, but before the mortal realms there was the world that was, that basically, spoiler alert if you're not aware about this, but it's basically a world that very much sort of geographically sort of resembled our own world. There were several continents. There was one continent that looked like Africa, one that looked like South America, one that looked like North America, one that looked like Europe, and one that looked like Asia, and so on. So it sort of resembled our world, apart from it was vastly different because it was a fantasy world, and obviously had orcs and trolls and vampire counts, and the chaotic wastes up north that had all the demons and all that sort of flooded into the world, had elves, all those sorts of things. And then apparently it had some sort of rat men, but only a madman would believe that, and that's absolutely nonsense. Of course you can have vampires, but I believe they're called Skaven or something. This myth, I mean, that's definitely not true. But going into the world that was, where were the Chaos Warriors? Now they were north of the world. They were in a place called Norska, and also the Chaos Wastes. Now, Norska, to start off with, it is basically a part near the Chaos Wastes, and the Chaos Wastes, something important to mention here is that there was what was called a chaotic gate within the Chaos Wastes, very much to the north. And basically what this gate was, if you think of it a bit like a realm gate, and this is how some chaos energy basically could feed into the world, and I believe it was basically like a portal you could go through to get to the realm of chaos. I believe that's correct. Let me know down in the comments if it's not, but I think that's how it worked. And because of this chaos energy that came from this gate, it really sort of corrupted the land around it, hence why it's called the Chaos Wastes. And as Norska is the closest point to the Chaos Waste, there is still some corruption around there as well. There's things like, if you take Scandinavia for example, and you have a deer or a reindeer there, it's a typical sort of, well, animal, it's a herbivore, it won't attack people unless it's threatened, that sort of thing. It will run away from you, that sort of stuff. However, in Norska and in the Chaos Waste as well, it's things like that, what would seem like innocent creatures have been corrupted. So instead of it just having antlers, it might have had really sort of sharp teeth, might even have fangs, might have claws on its hooves, it might have spikes, it might have scales, and it will certainly be a lot more aggressive and a lot more violent and vicious. So you see, that's just how it can twist the sort of wildlife being in Norska and the Chaos Waste. So if the environment also, there's like in the Chaos Waste, there's like massive pools of lava, there's like it's frozen waste in general, so frostbite and all that sort of thing, just natural things you got to think about. Like I say, the wildlife's incredibly dangerous, and there's also the chaotic, like the winds of magic basically, which are the chaotic energy moving across the world, in particular in like places like the Chaos Waste and in North as well. It would sort of almost act like a wind howl. If you imagine like a wind from the north in our world, you like really, really cold and like feels like it can cut through you. In the Warhammer world, in these sorts of northern places, it can really, really cut through you in the sense of it's almost like knives or something going through you. It can, the weather itself can kill you in horrendous ways, even more so than our own world. So imagine living in a place like, Norska. Some Chaos Warriors sort of like lived in the Chaos Waste, but sort of more like champions or armies who are on a quest of like unholy power, that sort of thing. They wouldn't choose to live in the Chaos Waste if they had a choice, essentially, because even if you are a great champion of chaos, it's not really the ideal place to live. Property prices are low, but still you're better off moving somewhere a little bit more comfortable like Norska. And so, like I say, living in these sorts of places really sort of breeds quite hardy people, essentially. So you've got Norska is basically, in our world it would be Scandinavia, so a close resemblance to the people from Norska are sort of like Vikings, that sort of style, very warrior-like people. However, like I say, it's a lot more cruel in the Warhammer world, and in particular this part. So one of the things that a lot of the tribes do is worship the Chaos Gods. And why they worship the Chaos Gods is because it's basically their sort of culture. And also, the Chaos Gods grant them great power. They make it easier to survive there, and they really are their deities of those tribes. And every follower of the Dark Gods, when they basically trade their soul in service to the Dark Gods, they all begin on their path of glory. And what this path of glory is essentially, it could be a standard, marauder from Norska, let's say, and that's his starting point. Yeah, that's his starting point. Let's say he's a marauder and he claims his first skull, gets his first death, starts making sacrifices to the Dark Gods. From that day onwards, he is basically trying to get from the bottom of the ladder to the top of the ladder, and that is demonhood. So that is becoming essentially a demon prince. And like I say, like from marauder to demon prince, that's a huge level to try and get up to, and certainly most people who try either die in combat, are backstabbed, or essentially get quite close but and then cannot handle the chaos energy they take and turn into chaos spawn. So that is sort of talking about how the Chaos Warriors and stuff used to work in the old world, and then essentially what happened was the end times, and spoiler alert, essentially Chaos won. And the Warriors of Chaos, or Slaves of Darkness as they're known now, were the main bulk of the the end times Chaos army, led by, of course, Archaon the Everchosen. Now, also something important to remember is that there are, like back in the end times and stuff, there was, like big forces of Khorne and Nurgle and Tzeentch and Slaanesh, but it was mainly made up by undivided warriors of chaos, the sort of main sort of bulk of the army. And that's what I'm really going to talk about in the world that was, just because essentially I could, you could talk about it for ages. There's loads of research you could do into it. There's a really good wiki on it as well, which you can go and have a look at. Or, of course, there's lore from games like Total War Warhammer and stuff like that. So essentially, Slaves of Darkness in the world that was used to be called Warriors of Chaos, and they're now Slaves of Darkness now because I think copyright reasons, but then again, copyright and Slaves of Darkness seems like quite a hard thing to do. But anyway, it's still quite a good name. So going into what they are in Age of Sigmar, and now they're still sort of very much the same sort of thing. And they first came into the mortal realms in the Age of Chaos, and the lore that I can find about this goes something along like this. So, the Age of Chaos has lasted for long and terrible centuries, a drowning the mortal realms in endless war. Through many mortals have fought to their last breath against the invaders, many more have instead chosen to worship the Chaos Gods as their masters, to follow their perilous path to glory. When the Slaves of Darkness march to war, they bring with them the cruelty and power of the dark Chaos Gods. Barbaric marauders, tribesmen, and armoured-clad warriors pour across the lands, ragged banners waving above them, embraced with hellish runes that burn with inner power. Cruel horsemen and thundering chariots crash into battle as therefore from amidst the marching hordes rise twisted shrines dedicated to the dark gods, and monstrous beasts drawn from the worst nightmares of mortals. Leading each of these fearsome armies stride the champions of chaos, warriors elevated to levels of inhuman power as a reward for their service to the gods. The lords of chaos wield their armies like vast and terrible weapons, using them to hack and smash at the surviving bastions of order across the mortal realms. They lay waste to all who oppose them, and for their brutal efforts they are rewarded richly. To join the ranks of the Slaves of Darkness, a warrior need only dedicate himself to one or all of the Chaos Gods. Some go freely into such damnation. The mad, the heartless, the damaged, the deranged, and the willing trade away their souls in exchange for the promise of otherworldly power. But many more whole tribes, cities, and nations fall to the worship of the Chaos Gods through a desperate need to survive. As the domination of chaos spread ever further across the mortal realms, life became darker and more horrific for those its shadow. For many, the choice was simple: submit to the will of chaos or be slain by those who did. The dark gods are no saviours. However, those who swore to serve chaos soon found themselves tearing down that which they held dear. Often the very things they had made their devilish bargain to protect. Lost to the corruption and madness of the path to glory, most no longer cared. So have the ranks of Slaves of Darkness swollen until their blight covers all the lands. One who begins their journey as a tribesman chieftain, or even a humble warrior of the rank and file, kills and conquers their way swiftly to a position of power. As word spreads about their glorious exploits, bands of tribesmen, charioteers, and heavily armoured knights hasten to swear themselves to this champion's cause. Little by little the horde grows, further warbands joining the first as the tales of glorious slaughter spread further afield. Soon enough, what began as a mere raiding party has swollen into a massive army led by a single powerful warlord. The obsession of all such chaotic overlords is the same. They wish to please their chosen deity, and in so doing prove themselves worthy of his gifts. This is the path to glory, and the lonely, selfish road that all aspiring champions of chaos must walk if they wish to earn the ultimate reward, to be able to become a demon prince. But to even be considered for such an award, a champion must destroy all who stand in their way, and make such offerings of carnage and corruption that for the briefest moments they succeed in catching the eye of a god. Even should a champion earn the boons of their chosen patron, these rewards can themselves spell their doom. For every Chaos champion who rises, burning with dark might, to claim immortality as a demon prince, there are countless others whose bodies twist and buckle under a bombardment of freakish mutations. Muscles bulge through tearing skin, and skeletons sprout hideous nests of spines until their bodies are reduced to crawling nightmares. Finally, the mind of the former champions snap altogether, and they become gibbling chaos spawn. No matter the terrible dangers they face, countless warriors swell the ranks of the dark gods' armies with every passing day. In such dire times as these, they reason that it's the better to wear the iron-shod boot of the oppressor than be the weak and terrified victim ground beneath its tread. Okay, that's basically the main bulk of the lore, what they are in Age of Sigmar. So they are very much similar to how they were back in the world that was, and they are again sort of themed as a more sort of, you can dedicate them, your Slaves of Darkness, to a certain god, but they are also looked upon as being the Chaos army that is undivided. And when I say undivided, of course I don't mean like they don't worship any of the gods, but they worship sort of all of them collectively as a pantheon rather than a certain one. Like, you know, you get the Blades of Khorne, or the Disciples of Tzeentch, or the Maggot King of Nurgle, and the Worshippers of Slaanesh when they do come out at some point in the future. So, and a good way to sort of summarise this is a little story there is, what they've came up with just a Chaos champion called Borg. Now what it says is, Borg the bear pushes spined thumbs deeper into the giant Uruk's eye sockets, roaring as he brought his armoured knee up under its jaw. Over and over again, the beast's cabled neck was becoming weak, stringy. Die! Roared Borg, spattered in a crimson Baptist as he wrenched the Iron Jaw's head from its neck and offered it to the skies. He felt power surge through him. His head hurt, fit to burst, but laughed in triumph. Finally he would ascend to godhood. A ripping and tearing came from below. Borg looked down eagerly, watching his muscular body ripple and bulge. Horror took him, for strange limbs withered under his skin like worms in a rotten stomach. They burst freely in a shower of nameless fluids, even as his head split in half, jaw flapping as the moaned in terror and pain. Borg Thing fell upon the Uruk once more, razored tentacles flailing. This day his path was complete. So the nice thing about that sort of story there is it sort of basically summarises what the Slaves of Darkness are. Every single one of them embarks on this path to glory, to one day become a demon prince. And it really shows the sort of tragedy here, how sometimes they can be given everything they ever wanted, which was this immortality. However, it is very much twisted in the sense that they'll become a chaos spawn, and becoming a chaos spawn is the most embarrassment thing that can ever happen to someone who embarks on the path to glory, and also makes them completely lose their mind. It gives them all the immortality and the power they so desperately wanted, but they do not have the mind to use it, and they literally just become a slave to the Chaos Gods. Okay, so that is where we're going to leave it with this lore video for the Slaves of Darkness. It is a little bit shorter than like the one I did for the Nighthaunt, I believe. However, Slaves of Darkness, there's not that much lore out for them at the moment. I've done what I can from what I can find, bits and pieces, to put together, but I just thought it would be nice to have a lore video for them, because I don't think on YouTube, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is like a sort of, 20-minute long video talking about them, so it's nice to get that uploaded there. I've certainly enjoyed reading about them, and I do look forward to looking at them in the army videos. Now, I understand from you guys from feedback with the Nighthaunt going forward, talking about different armies with their army videos. You maybe like the videos a bit more compact instead of like them being like 5 long like videos, which to be honest is probably going to be easier for me to do as well, to make them a bit more compact. Basically I'm going to stop rambling on continuously, but I would do that with the Slaves of Darkness. So thinking about it, what I might do is obviously not like 5 videos, but I might do the first video, which is basically talking about their allegiance abilities and artifacts and that sort of stuff, and then the next video will be looking at the units for the army, and then, you know, the Chaos Knights, the Chaos Warriors, the Marauders, and so on. And then the next video would be looking at the heroes. Now that is 3 videos, but they will probably be a bit shorter than the Nighthawk ones as well, just because there's quite a few heroes which, as an example, in Slaves of Darkness, which I'm not saying their models are bad and so on and stuff, some of them are pretty cool. However, I don't really feel like there's loads to do with them, much place, so there'll be quite a few that I will look at every single hero there is, that I'm aware of that there is for the Slaves of Darkness. But I might not go so much in depth with all of them, because some of them I don't feel like have as much as a purpose as heroes in some other armies. Okay guys, so like I say, that's where I'm going to end this video. I hope very much you guys have enjoyed this. If there's something you would like me to bring up when I do the army videos for the Slaves of Darkness, please let me know down in the comments below, as it would be really good to get a sort of heads up what you guys would like from these videos, as I will sort of, basically how I plan to do these videos is I'm aware that Slaves of Darkness, I feel like they're going to become a the Dark Oath at some point, in Age Sigmar. I think their name will change, and then they'll become a Battletome army. Who knows, it could happen this year. I've heard things around the end of summer sort of time, maybe they might get a Battletome. I've heard like just little rumours, I'm sure you guys heard those as well. And what I would say is, like, I'm looking at this army, as they haven't got much content out there for the moment, and that's why I want to review them, to give them some love. And then when they get a Battletome or something along those lines, and you know, inevitably their lore sort of changes a bit, and so does their army indefinitely, and hopefully we'd like to see that, you know, see them get some love from GW. What I probably will do is, at some point after they get their update, I will go back to these older armies that I've already done videos for, and basically just do a one-off video just talking about how they've been updated. Cool, so I just sort of wanted to give my plans for the future about this sort of stuff. And like I say guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, subscribe and comment down below, as that helps me, as I always say, more than you can believe. I'm really thankful for all the subscribers I've been getting lately as well, and of course people have been subscribed to me for a long time. I can't thank you enough for your dedication. So until next time guys, remember, Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.